So David?
So, Connie, thank you, and this is a great honor, my first poetry contest. And it's especially special because my mother's here. That young lady, 93 years young. She came all the way from Long Island. I said, Mom, this is not the Nobel Prize for Literature. But she came, and in fact, she has been the same cheerleader who has listened to my writing and poems my whole life. And any talent that I have in terms of meter and rhyme comes from her. And I think her first poem was PS5 in 1936.
Yeah.
Maybe later you could recite that.
It's a classic.
But I really appreciate the chance to share this and the honor, and also a lot of my friends who are here, and my brother who's videotaping, which might keep him from catcalls, which he's
Probably not.
So I'm going to read
That's what I do.
a couple of poems. First, the winning poem, which was not necessarily what I would have chosen, but happy to read it. And then I'm going to read a poem that really my brother will relate to. Then a couple about my wife, my beautiful wife sitting next to my mother, and finally one about my mother and father. So if you'll indulge me. So the first is, why do cats yowl?
Yow!
I brought my wife for sandwich. Why do cats yowl? Why do cats yowl, that mournful cry? Ours last night till 2:45. Limboed from bed, grabbed my slippers and a light, searching like Diogenes for a feline in the night. Looking for leaves, what were her needs? Food, she was fed. Sex, she was spayed. Stress, hell, she slept all day. I finally found Butterscotch by her last yowl in the laundry room, asleep in a towel. She was purring, her eyes were closed. Happy she was as fresh folded clothes. Save the applause to the end, if there is applause by the end. This next poem is called The Luckiest Man, and I think of my brother about this. My brother is a videographer and has made a career of telling the stories of people with disabilities. And I'm also lucky enough that my brother and I, after all of these years, are finally working together, which is pretty extraordinary. Not only are we talking, but we're working together. So this is The Luckiest Man. And I think what I thought about this poem is that, especially with people that are disabled, it's so easy for people to disappear into the rubble of their lives where nobody knows what their accomplishments and achievements were. They end up knowing them only by their disability. The Luckiest Man starts with an epigraph. Sun, soil, open sky, two trees planted side by side, one lives and one dies. His name suffices, Lou Gehrig's disease, the Yankees' iron horse, pulled his draft through 16 seasons, every day as a matter of course. And then a tremble, a tremor, a wave, a grip suddenly weak, doomed, a man no one could save, drowning on his feet. A legacy resting as much or more on a perfect body disabled than on his exploits, the stuff of lore that same body enabled. No simpler grace was ever known. Facing his grieving fans, he thanked them all for the kindness shown to him, the luckiest man. So I have two poems about my wife Barbara, my beautiful wife, who has had extraordinary accomplishments in her life and has a tough road with an impairment that many, many people have, and it's tough. And she's making a great effort. It's called She. She who could tear bark from a tree with the flash of her tongue, who could summon a Sondheim lyric with the toss of her head, who could crisply argue the irrefutable logic of common sense, has lost command of her words, which sometimes explode like grouse flushed, or flash like stirred embers, or puddle and evaporate, only to be returned as raindrops, or drizzle, or fog. And sometimes they are clear and insistent, but insensible to us. We listen closely, consider context, measure inflection, weigh emphasis, reach for the spirit, if not the letters, and the patience to stay in place, hoping that all those words are somewhere ordered, collated, bundled, ready to recall. And this is a poem also for Barbara that Barbara loves a beautiful day. And when we see a beautiful day, and she also loves the clouds, she would often say, like her mother used to, if I could make a day, it would be this day. If I could make a day. If I could make a day, she would say, it would be a day like today, of color and geometry, and river rippled sunlight, and bird songs call and response. And what would you take from this day? And she would say, I would take all that was offered and make something that was mine, and I would distill every sensation to a truth that I could speak, and I would listen to my desire say my name. And this is from my mom and dad. My dad died in the beginning of October. My mother and I, well before, picked out 2 trees to plant in our garden for her and for my father. And they are so indicated. We picked out ironwood trees. Of course, my mother wanted ironwood to last forever and hopefully to grow together. And at the time we planted them, I told the story from Ovid of Baucis and Philemon, this elderly couple that were the only ones in the village that were willing to admit to their home these pauper-like people who turned out to be Zeus and Circes in disguise.
I know.
And for that, and they gave them the end of their wine, the end of their food, and then they're told at the end that they could have one wish. And their wish is to grow together, and when one dies, the other dies, don't get any ideas from it. And that they can then grow together for all eternity as 2 intertwined trees. So this is a poem called 2 Old Trees. The storm so fierce, now fully spent, clean air and sweet release, amidst the scatter, beside a bench, sat our 2 old trees. How to explain all others shorn, yet these had their leaves, the landscape bare, how still adorned. Which gods did they appease? Ovid's Baucis and Philemon, by Zeus and Circe spared, had only some bread, a little wine, and this they freely shared. Their reward, a wish, granted to each, to last eternally. When one is called, take the other 2 let us live as two old trees.
It's hard to choose.